This is my husband, Ben.
Patrick Feld, this is my wife, Kira. You're loyal.
Doctor, listen, you have to come and visit.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah? Yeah. Done.
Two families meet on their vacation in Tuscany, and soon after one invites the other to a long weekend at their place, where things quickly go totally awry. Sounds familiar? Sounds like the 2022 Danish movie named Speak No Evil. So what is this one titled? Oh, Speak No Evil as well? There we go. It's a remake. So does it measure up to the original? Is it any different? Is it worth your while? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me for this review if you like to find out. While being on vacation in Tuscany, a young American couple and their daughter, who currently live in London, casually befriend a couple from Ireland, whose son, due to a genetic condition, isn't able to speak. A few weeks later, the Americans are invited to stay with the Irish family for a few days, somewhere in a remote rural area. The husband is more than happy to take them up on it, as the guys were hitting it off straight away. And as he recently lost his job, this would be a welcome distraction. His wife, though, is a little bit more hesitant, but soon agrees to accept the invite. After arriving at their home, the Americans soon notice some strange behavior sported by the Irish couple.
Thank God there's a doctor in the house.
I'm not a doctor.
What?
But didn't you say you were a doctor?
Did I?
Which makes them quite uncomfortable. However, they opted to ignore it at first, but soon things start to escalate. Is it all in their heads, or are they in real danger? How will it all end? Honestly, I wasn't that thrilled about this movie being screened at this year's Fantasy Film Fest, and as the opening night event no less. The reason was mainly that I already watched this movie. Well, not this exact one, but the Danish original that was shown to us at the same festival just 2 years earlier. That one was a great movie, but also a real gut punch that I didn't want to revisit that soon. Also, as in the original we had a Danish family being invited by a Dutch couple, it was already shot almost entirely in English.
Is this for you?
I'm a vegetarian.
I insist.
So it seemed unnecessary to even film a remake, and that just 2 years later. I also expected this to be a shot-by-shot retelling, so what would be the point? However, in their opening speech, the festival organizers assured us that this would be a different movie, a reinterpretation where it is now an American couple going to Ireland, which made me and many others in the audience giggle, as that wouldn't make much of a difference. The first 2/3 of this movie then turned out to be an exact carbon copy, with only minor changes, mainly slightly downplaying the feeling of foreboding the original conveyed in those parts. It is well acted and filmed, but as it didn't offer anything new and even some of the dialogue was taken from the original, my interest in the events on screen wasn't really high.
Someone left without saying goodbye.
You flipped out and tried to leave without saying goodbye?
But then, in the last third, the movie totally diverts from the original's plotline. Personally, I was happy about this change of pace, because, as I mentioned before, I wasn't interested in watching the same movie for a second time. As now the outcome of the movie was totally open again, my interest was reignited. However, this change made this remake the inferior of the two movies, though the new path it went down somehow also felt appropriate at the same time. In other words, it is still a good movie, just a different one and not as impactful as the original. I asked myself two questions then. First of all, if you do a remake and even use the same title, why would you stray away from the original plotline in the last third? Why not make an original movie with a different title, only inspired by the Danish one? Secondly, if you choose to change the plotline in the last third, why not change up the first 2/3 as well, so that audience members who know the original feel engaged earlier on? This somehow created the feeling that the changes were less based on creative decisions, but more the result of interference from the studio and by the producers. Anyway, this movie turned out to be better than expected, though as I said, I prefer the original over this one. Well, not really. Let's say the original was the better movie. What I mean by that I will tell you at the end of this video in the spoiler zone, where I will also discuss the differences between the two movies, so stay tuned if you are interested. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. Let's keep it short here. After being pretty sure that I would not enjoy this one, I ended up liking it quite a lot. It is, as I mentioned, inferior to the original, but nevertheless totally worth watching. I rated the original with 8 out of 10 points, so this one I will go with 7 out of 10, which still makes this a clear recommendation.
Very good.
Would they have also changed the first 2/3 of the movie more, I might have even scored it higher. As is, the first 2/3 were a little bit boring if you are familiar with the original. But if you haven't seen it, this will not be an issue, so you can enjoy this one for what it is.
Oh, well, that is very sweet of you to say.
Now, if you don't want to get spoiled, please leave now. If you don't mind spoilers or have already watched the movie, please follow me into the spoiler zone. Okay, what remained the same is that in both movies, the danger turned out to be real and the lives of the invited family are at stake. Because the hosts have killed many families before, always keeping the child to take on as their own. Then when they grow unsatisfied with their current kid's behavior, they are on the lookout for a replacement, and in the process dispose of their new victim's parents and also kill off their current hostage. They also cut out the children's tongue, so it cannot tell the next family what is going on. In the original, they catch on too late. The daughter's tongue is cut out in front of her parents before they are stoned to death. And the cycle continues. As you can imagine, this ending was tough to watch, making it a real gut punch. For sure not a feel-good ending, but a very memorable one. Which made it an impactful movie, though not one you want to rewatch that soon after. In the remake, however, the son finds a way to give the Americans a heads up, so that they can try to find a way out.
Yeah, we can't look stressed or scared. We just have to go out there and be completely normal.
After a thrilling showdown, the Americans actually win and kill off the wicked couple, even saving the boy. That ending certainly feels better and is more aligned with what we are used to see in movies. Which is why I hinted at the notion that while I didn't necessarily prefer the original's ending, its harsh conclusion made it more memorable and also the better movie.
What is wrong with you?
For that reason, I think they should have just done their own thing, instead of calling it a remake, and also come up with a different plot in the first 2/3. It is a great movie as is, but falls flat in comparison. Without this comparison in mind, this one would have been able to shine a bit brighter. I'm sure that this change was done to please American audiences, who are not used to such a bleak ending, or at least that is what the producers thought of their target audience. Maybe this was even the result of negative test screenings that triggered reshoots. Who knows?
I know we can both be...
A bit much.
One last thought. This change may also come across as a little bit condescending, conveying that an American family will not fall for this. That Americans always win, while the Danish family in the original were just suckers. There was also a Danish couple in the beginning of the movie, when the two families first meet, where the Danish were introduced as a boring family no one wants to hang out with. That was for sure meant as a charming nod to the original, but also added to the likely unintentional impression that the movie wants to present the Americans as superior. What about you? Have you seen both movies? Which one do you prefer? If you are familiar with the original, are you interested in the remake? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching. While being on vacation in Tuscany, a young American couple and their daughter, who currently live in London. Personally, I wasn't happy about... I was happy? While being on vacation in Tuscany, a young American couple and their daughter, who currently...